One of the reasons we're in the migration crisis that we're in is because our mainstream media does not care about ordinary British people. And that's exactly what Susanna Reid and Ed Balls display in this interview. So we're going to watch this. I'll give some commentary throughout. We'll see Zia Yusuf brilliantly expose them and then stay to the end because I've got some shocking examples of the kind of disasters our open border policy leads to. Let's watch.
Bring an unlimited number of dependents into the country. The British people, it's totally unfair to expect them to foot that bill, and even worse, to brand them racist.
Zia Yusuf, in June 2025, there were 7.9 million people on universal credit, and 2.7% were in the indefinite leave to remain group. That's 213,000 people taken from that number of 7.9 million. Most people on universal credit are Brits.
Well, while most people are, the propensity for foreign nationals, the likelihood of a foreign national to be claiming universal credit is much higher. The reality is one in six claimants of universal credit are foreign nationals. ILR is just one portion of that. But Susanna, what you're doing there is actually being quite, with respect, you're being quite misleading.
That is
because,
specifically,
you're
specifically
proposing. And the reason why we're talking about ILR, Susanna, is because of the looming Boris wave.
9 billion universal credit when it's 7.9 million
Susanna,
people.
with respect, your numbers are completely wrong. I said, and you're misquoting me, I said 1 in 6 of the people who claimed universal credit last year are foreign nationals. You then switched it to ILR. I said foreign nationals. And if we're talking about ILR, the reason why this policy is necessary is because the millions of people who will shortly become eligible for ILR, underscore on shortly become eligible for, they are the ones who drive the hundreds of billions of pounds of cost because they are about to become eligible for ILR. So you don't see it in last year's numbers. So we've got to be serious, Susanna. With respect, we have to be serious about this problem. So the reality is it is going to be hundreds of billions of pounds of cost to the British taxpayer. The people watching this programme, it is unfair for these people to have to go to work, pay their taxes, to pay for foreign nationals to get benefits in this country. And Reform are the only party serious about addressing that issue.
And now, before the genius Ed Balls comes and brings his pearls of wisdom, just notice the ridiculousness of that question. Whenever you talk about the issues that migration brings and issues that migrant communities may have, the response from the left and from the mainstream media is always, well, British people do it too. And it's like, but this is Britain. You would expect the majority of British benefits claimants to be British. In fact, 100% of benefits claimants should be British because this is Britain. Why would you import the financial burdens of other countries? How does that benefit the British people? But of course, that's not her interest. Her interest is not about benefiting the British people. They do these things, and they do the same thing when you talk about grooming gangs and stuff. They use these tactics because they're trying to say, well, you can't talk about migration and migrant communities because British people are just as bad. And the contempt that they have for the ordinary Brits whilst they sit in their ivory tower studios is incredible.
You said you're going to deport 600,000 people. So these are the kind of people you'd be looking to deport. Just to understand...
Well, that was in the context of illegal migration. We're currently talking about legal migration. If you look at any country in the world, Ed, any serious country in the world, once you withdraw the benefits, most of the people who are claiming those benefits end up leaving of their own accord. And by the way, this Labour's own government, read the Telegraph today, look at the news today, Labour's own government today are saying that they want to increase, in response to our policy, they want to increase ILR qualifying period from 5 to 10 years, or maybe even not at all. I'm
just trying to understand who this applies to. So if you came here in the 1970s as an Asian person fleeing from Idi Amin's policies in Uganda, you've lived here for 40 years, but you're on a low income with independent leave to remain. Under your policy, if your income is too low, then you would be asked to leave.
No, because you would have a pathway to citizenship. So the pathway to citizenship remains. And most of the people you're describing there, Ed, would have already claimed citizenship. So again, what constantly seems to happen is this hysterical referral to some hypothetical that largely does not exist because the path to citizenship continues to exist.
We're just trying to understand it. So if you came here from Hong Kong in 2020...
Afghanistan, now Hong Kong. Or not Afghanistan, sorry, Uganda, now Hong Kong. Notice what country he didn't refer to.
Escaping there because you were a refugee and were given a citizenship, independent leave to remain from Boris Johnson's government, or you are on track to get that. Would you now lose that if there was a reform government?
For those who have come here from Hong Kong as part of that BNO visa program, those people, a significant portion, would qualify for the work visa if they wanted to do that. And if they didn't, there would be a humanitarian visa that would continue to be available to them, and ultimately citizenship.
And if you
We
came
are
from
talking about the
Afghanistan,
3.8 million
and if you came from
non-EU migrants who
Afghanistan,
came here
There
under
it is.
Boris Johnson, who are going to be hundreds of billions of pounds worth of a drain on the British taxpayer's purse. We can ill afford it, and it's totally unfair on the people
I thought
watching this
you had said
program
that-
for them to go to work to pay for that.
So notice Afghanistan, Uganda, Hong Kong, everyone except the British. So what he can do is he can find these obscure hypothetical scenarios, and he essentially wants us to base our whole immigration policy on these what ifs. But imagine him saying, what about Rhiannon White, the woman, the British woman that was unalived by an asylum seeker in a hotel that she was working at? Should we close our borders because of that? Or should we radically change our asylum policy because of that? No, he wouldn't do that. He wouldn't ask those questions because it goes against the liberal globalist agenda that he and our mainstream media are pushing. They care about stories and anecdotes when it supports their position, not when they're trying to be consistent, and certainly not when it's about prioritizing the interests of British people, not hating anybody else, prioritizing the interests of British people. And now I want to show you a little bit about the disasters that have come as a result of our immigration policy, because one of the pushbacks many people have for what Zia Yusuf is talking about, and people who challenge our levels of immigration, is the fact that we need immigrants. We're reliant on immigrants. We rely on immigrants to do everything for us. And what that does, what's happened is our establishment have used that to justify opening the doors to anybody and everybody without quality control, without standards, without concern for how it affects citizens here. So, for example, you may not have heard of this, but there's a very tragic story. A couple of years ago, a Nigerian care worker was spared jail in the UK, spared jail after CCTV revealed abuse of an elderly client. Now, so many people that have come into the UK over the past couple of years legally have come in on these health and social care visas, especially under the Boris wave. And I'll show you some numbers about that beforehand. But when your borders are literally open and you do not prioritize the interests of the British people, but you use, we need immigration for our workforce to justify it, this is the kind of crap that you get. I'm even going to show you the video of what happened. It was absolutely shocking. This was just days before he passed away. Just have a look, okay? So her son put this video in their home. This is the care worker.
Pull off your clothes. Let's clean your body. See,
Can you hear this? Poor
I'm
man.
not hurting you. Pull off your clothes.
Poor man. See, I'm not hurting you. And this is, do you know what? This is shocking. This is look at him. Do you know what? That's, you can watch the rest. This is as much as I can even watch. I can even watch this. It's really sickening. These are some of the people that could easily get health and social care visas, who have got these kind of visas to come into the UK. Now, I don't know if this woman in particular came as part of the Boris wave on those social care, health and social care visas, but let's not pretend that the quality of people who came on the health under the Boris wave would be, we know for a fact, would be of a much higher standard. In fact, I know loads of people who lived in like Nigeria, for example. My family's from Nigeria, so people may say I'm a traitor for talking about this or for highlighting these issues. But before anything, I'm a Christian, which means I love God, I love justice, and I hate evil, and I see the injustice in our immigration system. And also, I love Britain. I love the UK. This is the country I was born and raised in, and I love this country and what it's done for the world. Of course, it's done some horrible things, as every country has done, but the UK has done some fantastic things, and I'm proud to be a British citizen. I'm proud of it. So I'll speak about it. This person was spared jail. She was given a suspended prison sentence. So, and I think there's another article that shows that a few months later, she got a job in a hospital. I think the Daily Mail reported that. So this is the kind of thing that happens when the standards for who comes into the UK are so low, and the priority and safety of British people are on the floor. Like, they're not even on the floor. They're just not even in the room. Like, they don't even think about it. And now it's not just the mainstream media that don't prioritize the safety and interests of the British people. Of course, it's also our leaders and our politicians. I mean, constantly the UK population, the public have voted against mass immigration, mass immigration. You even had Boris Johnson, who literally campaigned on a vote leave ticket, who then ended up being overseeing one of the largest influxes. In fact, I think the largest influx of migration into the UK, especially of low skilled migration into the UK, largely from many countries who don't share the same values as the UK, even though he was given a mandate to do the very opposite, because our whole establishment is cooked. I mean, just look at this, right? When they issue these health and social care visas, the Boris wave or Boris Johnson's cabinet, they thought that they'd get 40,000 people coming in. That already is like massive. That's like the number of people who came into the UK legally in 1996, the year that I was born. They got 37 initially, but then within the following year, 105,000 people just from the health and care visas alone. This was the government that literally said, get Brexit done. So our whole establishment, our mainstream media, our politicians, they're absolutely cooked and compromised. I mean, look at what the guy who was the head of the Migration Advisory Committee said, talking about these visas. It was very attractive because the government was saying, if you come here, you can bring your partner, you can bring dependents with you. So bring your whole family, everybody comes along. And then after 5 years, you can apply and become a citizen. And you're issuing that to Nigeria, India, Bangladesh, Pakistan. Like, do you think you're going to get the best of the best coming over? Or are you going to get a lot of people who are destitute, who have probably never worked in health and social care before? And I know of cases where there are people who are working. I've heard of cases of people who are working in health and social care who were not working in health and social care in the countries they came from, right? And that's the kind of people you're going to attract to the UK. And what kind of damage are you going to cause to the people that are here? If this country is going to flourish and prosper and be a country that you're proud to leave to your kids, your grandkids, then we need to be able to call out these things and not be deterred by accusations of racism. Like, we need to be able to say, regardless of what the mainstream media say, regardless of our establishment politicians say, we know what right is and we're not going to tolerate wrong. We know that our systems are being used and abused, and we're not going to stand for it. We're not going to stand for it at all. And we know we can't trust our mainstream media, which is why we need to platform other voices, other channels, and other truth tellers who actually love what this country is and want to keep it the fantastic country built on the word of God, built on the Bible, that created so much prosperity, not just for this country, but for the whole world. So many other countries owe much of their prosperity to what has come out of the UK. Everything from their road systems, to their transport, to their hospitals, to their schools, to the literacy rates around the world. We should be proud of this country and we should fight to protect it.